so grateful to have Matt Hancock here from MPH Plumbing and Heating to just share his experience since working with us. So thanks for doing this, Matt. I appreciate that your time's valuable. So do you want to just introduce yourself, introduce MPH, and just let us know what it is that you do?
Okay, yeah, so my name is Matt. I own MPH Plumbing and Heating. We started the business in November 2018. At that point, I was working on the tools pretty much by myself. I had a labourer that was working with me as well. We were doing bathrooms, general plumbing, just bits like that. Shortly after setting up the business, I always had plans to expand. And at the same time, I noticed an advert pop up from Dan, and I filled out the survey, and he got back to me with regards to that. And then, yeah, we had a discussion on what his plans were, working with businesses like myself, and they totally aligned with what I was looking to do. We had a good conversation, a lengthy conversation. It took me a while to make the investment into it. I'd probably say it took me a week or two to sit on it and decide, because like most people in our position, I think, when you're investing money into something for the first time or going down a different route, it's you've got to be careful about where you put your money. And I think with regards to making investments, you've got to make sure that you're going to get a return on investment. And I believe, after speaking to Dan, that was the best way to go about it.
Brilliant. So we've been working together now, Matt, as you know, for over, nearly 2.5 years.
Yeah.
You've just even upgraded your package to jump on our premium diamond package, as you know. So when we first kind of had that conversation, it was a lengthy conversation. We're speaking about your business, we're speaking about your goals. And of course, you was a bit skeptical. Had you worked with other agencies before? Is that why you were skeptical?
I'd never worked with anyone before. I'm a naturally skeptical person. And I think the problem with most business owners is, in most cases, when anyone is coming straight out of school into the workplace, we are taught to be the perfect employees. We learn from our society, and we're taught to save money. We don't understand the concept of spending money. And I think that is, you really got to understand how investment works, and you have to understand that it takes money to make money, and that if you're spending 5 grand to make 10 grand, you're not spending 5 grand, you're making 5 grand. Do you know what I mean? And you could use that configuration for any number. And I think that's what the problem is I was always skeptical because I didn't understand the concept of investment, which is the main reason I think most people can't progress in their business to the next level, is because they look at spending a certain amount of money, like investing with yourself, as spending that money like it would be if they spent that money on a holiday.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or a luxury item, or a a liability, basically. But it's not the same thing. It's totally not the same thing. If you're spending money on a holiday or a car, it's a depreciating asset, or the holiday is just an experience. Whereas if you're investing in your business, if you're investing money into something that's going to bring you more money back, you're not actually spending money at all. The only thing is there's a time frame between the moment you spend the money and the moment you see the return. But that period of time is short-lived if you have make the right investment, and you end up making over and above the money you've put into it. So
I think you're absolutely spot on, Matt. And of course, I think one of the reasons why we got so well at the beginning, and obviously we talk regularly throughout the past 2.5 years. One of the reasons why I think we have got on so well is because we do share that mindset. None of us have come from kind of rich parents or rich backgrounds or even business backgrounds.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head where you said that you've had to change your mindset from like going from the employee mindset, worried about spending money, don't speak to strangers. I mean, we've never even met each other face to face.
No.
So we've got all these preconceived ideas in our head. And when you obviously start a business, it's a complete shift in mindset. And I think that's one of the things that I really value about you. Because when we started talking to each other, and again, just correct me if I'm wrong, but you was fully on the tools, you was burning yourself out, you was, I don't even think you had an office at the time, you was grafting. So just share a bit about what happened from that initial conversation when you was in that position to kind of maybe 12 months later, because it was an incredible transformation, and we even kind of bigged you up in the group, if you remember. So yeah, just share a bit about that if you can, Matt.
Okay, so as I said, started in November 2018. At this point, I was driving a van that wasn't in the best condition. You're constantly spinning your wheels with finances. So you're dying to finish your jobs so you can get paid, and no sooner than you get paid, the money's gone again. You don't know where all this money's going, and you're just spinning your wheels. You literally live in to pay your bills. And I think once you understand the mindset behind it, as you said, it really is a change of mindset. Like, you've got to ask yourself, if I don't change the way that I'm doing something, nothing's going to change. So I always had and have big aspirations for the business. I'm looking to take it to as big and as better as I can make it. There's no limit to what I want to do. I knew that from early on. I just didn't know how to do it. So I knew that I had to do something different. I never dealt with anyone like yourself before, marketing. I've had plenty of people approach me, but it was something that stood out about Payne. And once we spoke, it was a no-brainer for me. I invested in you, not so much a marketing or a person who does our marketing or a person who helps us with our website. I invested in you as a person because I believe that your goals for your business aligned with my goals for my business. And it just so happens that your business is a business that I can work alongside and can help us out. So it was exactly what I was looking for in terms of a partnership in a sense, because you've got your thing going on, we've got ours, but I needed someone that I could trust to, work as hard as they could on the business. And because I know where you want to take your business, I knew that the dedication you put in, and that's exactly what I got. So I parted with, whatever it costs to set the website up, and run the website. And from there, after speaking with yourself and your knowledge dealing with other plumbing businesses as well, which is invaluable, it allowed me to open my mind up even more and not be so scared to make the investments that I needed to make, and understand what these bigger companies are spending on their businesses in order to make them grow. So I remember asking you all the time I was outside a job, and I remember asking you, like, when will I know when I can take like my first person on in the office? When will I know, you know, when I could get my first office? When would I know these things? Because I was still on the tools at this point, and I knew you had knowledge with other businesses, and you just said to me, like, you'll just know. Like, it's hard to say, but you'll just know. And I didn't know. I had no knowledge of how to progress the business at that time. And what I did is I bought another van, and I took someone on. And I think whenever you take someone on, especially in the early days, you always worry, like, am I going to have enough work for them? These are the worries you got. First of all, you know, am I going to have enough work for them? Am I going to be, should I take them on employed or self-employed, subcontracted? I knew nothing about how to employ, how to run a business, nothing. So it's a big risk to take. And you're also managing someone else on top of you being on the tools. But the quicker you can master this, the quicker you're going to get to the position that you want to get in. You're never going to get to that level of being in a certain place unless you take these risks. You know, so it calculated risks. I knew I had more work than I could handle. I was booked up for X amount of months. So I thought, well, if I split that between two people, and I did. And then as soon as I got that first person in and figured that out, I did the same thing again and again and again. And within 12 months, I think we grew from just me and like a labourer to, it was about seven of us. We had 7 vans on the road in about, I think it was 6 or 7 vans on the road in about 13, 14 months, I think it was. So that was a big jump for us. And we planned to double it last year. Obviously, with COVID and stuff, we couldn't. We had the work there, but it was just more so about, it was difficult to find the right staff. So we sort of leveled off, but we're going for it this year now, and we got no doubt that we can double the size of our team. So yeah, it's been we've expanded quite quickly in the beginning, and then it leveled off for a bit, and we expanded again. We're expanding again now. You just got to go all in. You got to go all in and figure out along the way.
I completely agree, Matt. And like, based on that, would you agree with this, in that when you start the business, like, you're really good at plumbing, doing bathrooms, you're a good engineer. So you decide to start a business because you've got that skill set. And then to grow an actual business, there's a difference between being the best plumber in the world and being the best plumbing business in the world. So I think one of the challenges that you've overcome is the fact that you've got this area of expertise and you do a great job, and your business is your baby. But of course, to grow the business, you need to let go of that control. You need to release the control, and you need to bring other people in. So again, using the popular catchphrase, you need to work on the business rather than in the business. And from that time when we first spoke, because I remember that conversation as well, when we was talking about being on the tools and taking on the first person, I was literally sitting in my car, and it probably was like a 45-minute call. And I was sitting on my drive in the car, just speaking.
That's a short conversation for us, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going to have to make sure that this call don't go on for 5 hours.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, so when you started to release, let go of control, I think you found that, okay, this isn't as scary or as bad as what I thought it was. And then it allowed you to do it again and again and again and again, till the point where you got to that level. And I don't want to kind of paint this picture of everything being magical roses and daisies and angels and whatnot, because that's not the reality. And I'd rather be much more real about it, because at the end of the day, the harder the struggle, the stronger the story. So last year, Matt, obviously through COVID and whatnot, you grew rapidly, and then you'd experienced some issues within the business. So would you mind just sharing a bit about that, just so we can like keep it real?
Yeah, 100%. So it's very difficult. I say that, you know, starting a business is a difficult decision to make. It's scary, and you don't know what you're going into, and there's many questions unanswered because you've never done this before. Growing a business is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. It's a simple concept, but it is very, very difficult, I find, because especially in the beginning, because, you know, you've got limited resources. So you've got to be the business owner. You've got to be the one who brings in all the work. You've got to manage however many guys you've got, your reputation, the finances, the accounting, you know, all of these different hats, I guess, you're wearing, like, for the business to make sure that you're doing everything in the beginning, because you haven't got the money or the resources to basically make sure that everyone, you can delegate the work out. The thing is, though, is you're never going to get to that next level, like I said, without learning to let go of control. Now, I find the easiest way to do that is to look at people that inspire you, or look at people that you want to be like, and ask yourself, okay, yes, it is difficult to employ people and put them on a job when you know your quality of work. You've built your reputation on your quality of work, but you are now putting your trust in other people to basically look after your reputation and promote your reputation. It's a difficult thing to do, is let go of that trust. But if you look at people who inspire you, successful entrepreneurs and business owners, how many of them are doing the work themselves? You know, they're not, they're delegators. That's what they do. They delegate the work out to individuals, and then they make sure that those tasks are being done by them individuals. That's the only way you're going to progress to that next level. So, you know, I knew that was the way to go. It's trial and error. It's very, very difficult to do. But as you said, I think the harder the task, the bigger the reward. You know, it is risk and reward. I've been through some of the toughest times in my life with this business, but I also am reaping the rewards from it when things go well, you know. So it's it really is risk and reward. And, you know, when COVID hit, fortunately, you know, work was never an issue for us. In the beginning, it was a bit difficult because the actual suppliers closed. You know, you couldn't even get hold of the materials you needed for the jobs. But as soon as that initial lockdown happened, we, you know, we came back out of that, got back to work. But I did have a few issues with employment. I'd say that there were people who were uncertain about what they wanted to do with the rest of their career path. And, you know, the government was giving out free handouts basically to people for not working. So, you know, a lot of people didn't want to work. Also, when we were trying to recruit, because our plan was to grow, we had no plans not to grow, even with COVID, because we had the work coming in. I was interviewing multiple people, and I was just getting messed around by, I'd probably say 90% of them. You know, we tried to take on a fair amount of people, and it just never worked out properly, because once again, I think that these people may have wanted a job, but I just don't think they could give up the fact that they could get free money for not working. So they were coming in for interviews. You know, I had people trying to show up for a day or two, and then you wouldn't hear from them again. It was a crazy time. Fortunately, towards the end of last year, that really leveled off, and it was a real difficult storm to get through, because we had the work, you know, we had all the, what I would class as the difficult parts covered. You know, all we needed was a couple more pairs of hands on the tools and job done. But it was just finding people who weren't messing around and weren't going to mess around and wanted to work. And it was really, really difficult, but we got through it. It put some extra stress on my team because a lot of them, were having to work really hard to make up for stuff that I'd already booked in for people who, weren't even going to show up. But I kept the positive head on me, even though it's difficult. I said, look, we'll ride the storm and get through it. And I honestly believe that was one of the best things that I did. And it always is. Riding the storm is always the best thing to do, because it can get real difficult and real dark, and you can really be convinced that things are going sour. But if you work hard, get your head down and stick to it, we come into this new year now with the right mindset, the employment situation leveled off, and we're absolutely smashing it. We got a great team again. We're looking to expand now, double in size by the end of this year, and yeah, we're back on top form again. Really, it's going to be different levels. It's going to be ups and downs, but you've really got to ride those downs out, and you will reap the rewards afterwards.
100%. I remember when you was when we had these conversations back in 2020 about what was happening with the business. And again, it isn't about kind of how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. And one of the things that one of the best lessons that I think I've ever learned that's helped me push through, because business isn't easy. It's one of the hardest things ever.
Yeah.
You're transforming yourself, you're transforming lives of other people. And one of the best kind of lessons that I've learned along those lines is when you're going through these hardships, like, you don't learn when you're winning. When you're winning, you're not learning because everything's going smoothly. Like, you think you're a king. Like, when you're losing, you're forced to learn. You're forced to grow, because if you enter the problem with the same level of thinking that got you into the problem, you're never going to be able to get out of it. And
100%, yeah.
Seeing you, Matt, again, just to give you the props where due, really, because seeing you go through that and seeing some of the issues that you were facing back then and how you've came out on top of it now, it's just a testament to that, because now your foundations as a business are much stronger than they was at the start of last year.
10 times.
Through this challenge, you came out the back end with a stronger foundation, and now we're in a position where we can really kind of push the accelerator button this year to achieve those doubling of your growth goals.
100%. The foundation of the business is 10 times stronger for the problems that I've experienced, mainly last year. And we've actually put specific procedures and invested in software. We've done a lot more things to make the business better, which have only really been sped up or happened at all because of the hardships we went through. I've only started looking into these different procedures and rules and software and stuff because of the problems I was experiencing. So perfectly right there what you said, in terms of you only learn when you're going through hardships, really, because until you've got a problem, you're not going to be looking for a solution. And when you start finding solutions and you keep knocking these problems off one by one, eventually you've got a business model that can tackle almost any problem that can occur, whether that's an employment problem, a financial problem, a vehicle problem, marketing, whatever it is. You've probably got something in place to deal with those issues. And yeah, it really isn't sunshine and rainbows. It is one of the most difficult things that you can ever do. But at the same time, I don't think people will ever reach that next level without taking those. But you really have to get comfortable with taking risks, because now most people have a mindset of, if it scares you, they let that fear take over. They sit on the decision for too long, whether it's investing this amount of money into their business, or taking that person on, and they sit on it for a minute, and they let that fear the action. Now I've got so comfortable with it that I only make decisions that scare me. So, for example, taking on one person, wondering if I'm going to have enough work for them or this or that, was scary for me before. And now I'm looking to double in size as quickly as possible. I'm not looking to take on one person. I'm looking, the same thoughts run through my mind. Have you got enough work for them? Are they going to be able to manage them? Same with investing in the diamond package. The same questions run through my mind. Is it going to, be, is it going to do? But it's difficult to make those decisions because you're doing, but I genuinely believe that the only way you can achieve that next level, because they have to be done. If you on, say, a new employee or 5 new employees, if you're too scared to take them on, but you want 5 new employees, you got 2 up to do it. That's it. If you want to invest in, yourself or your diamond package or whatever, this or that, or is it going to work? Is it not going to work for me? Or you can just do it and go on with do it, providing I've worked hard and done everything I'm supposed to do at my business. I've done made a decision that scares me. In almost all cases, it's helped grow my business to the next level, because you've got to do these things that are going to, scare you and challenge you, basically.
And grow you as a person at the same time.
Oh yeah, it's massive. I think people have got a huge misconception that if you're good at your job as a plumber, or as whatever you do, electrician, plumbing, anything at all, if you're good at your job, if you're a good plumber, by no means does that mean you're going to be a good businessman. They are 2 totally different things. When you first come off the tools or you're trying to grow your business, it's like going and walking into a plumbing class for the first time, the plumbing course. You're learning from scratch. You may not think it because you're good at your job. You're like, oh well, I'm a good plumber, so I can run a plumbing business.
Yeah,
it is. I can't tell you how far apart those 2 roles are. What I do now,
experience it, haven't you? You've got to experience it to know how far apart they are.
What I do now is so far away from being a plumber that I can't even explain it. It's nothing to do with plumbing. Yes, the service that we offer is plumbing, but what I do now in terms of running the business is I have to delegate, make sure that people are doing things they're supposed to be doing and doing them correctly. Manage the stuff for the accounting, make sure they've got everything they need, dealing with yourself. And the only way that, the only thing that I wish I had was guidance. I've learned most of this up until I met yourself by myself, the hard way, trial and error, like we said. But that's where I believe where you are as a business now is invaluable for what you can offer other people. Because this interview, for example, the WhatsApp group, stuff like that, you're getting first-hand experience from people who have been through something that other people want to go through, and they don't know how to do it. And rather than make some of the biggest mistakes that I've made or some of the other guys have made in the group, you know, if they're at a stage that's not quite at that level yet, they can learn from those mistakes. It's invaluable because it saves you time and money. If I knew what I knew now, I could build my business to where it is now, from the day I set it up to where it is now, in 6 months. But you don't, you know, you learn along the way. But that's where, you know, your business, your groups that you've got set up now and stuff can offer that invaluable information. So people will slingshot their growth if they follow advice from people like us, you know.
Well, I'm glad that you brought this up, Matt, because a lot of the interviews that we've done so far, they've spoke about the WhatsApp group and how valuable that's been. But you was actually, I think you was our third ever client.
Yeah, yeah.
You was part of that WhatsApp group when it got created.
Yeah, yeah.
How? Because again, you mentioned it earlier as well. Like the key to my success in my business and what I'm hearing from you is that success leaves clues. Like if you want to learn maths, you listen to a maths teacher. You want to learn how to drive, you listen to a driving instructor. If you want to learn how to grow a successful plumbing business, a marketing agency, if you want to become a millionaire, you need to learn from people who have already done those things.
Yeah, so
you being a part of this WhatsApp group from day one, like how's that experience been for you, seeing it kind of progress to where it is now, and like some of the because you contribute to it massively as well. And I know you've built some relationships through the group. And the funny thing is that we've never actually even met each other.
No, not in person.
We've never met each other in person, which is crazy to really think about. All of this online. So from the WhatsApp group point of view, how's that been through your experience, Matt?
Invaluable. I've made or not made some decisions that I had been contemplating based on the experiences of other guys in the group, because I may have thought about which software am I going to use for my internal processes, and you put it out in the group, and then you'll get all this feedback of people who have used it, are using it, don't like it, love it, whatever, and you can basically nip all your things like that in the bud. If it wasn't for that WhatsApp group, a lot of my processes that I've got in place now, I don't know how I would have had them in place, because I would have had to find them independently and gone through, you know, I've the software I use internally, you know, I'd already purchased 2 prior to the one I use now, because I was doing my own research. And then, you know, you ask in the group, you see what they're using, you use it, and you find out, yeah, I wish I did this from the start. So what the group does is it allows you to hurdle over mistakes rather than learn them through trial and error. And that is the most invaluable thing you can have in business, is basically mentoring from people who are in a position, who have been where you are at in your decision making and have got past it successfully.
Yeah.
Because rather than you go down several different avenues and find out which one's the right one, you got someone who's been there, done it, come out the other end better off, giving you first-hand advice. It's absolutely invaluable. As for, you know, being in the WhatsApp group from day one, yeah, it was it's been great, because obviously you get direct communication with other business owners, like-minded people. You know, once again, the group has grown massively now. I'm actually surprised at how many people are in there when I look sometimes, which just goes to show that is confirmation of the effort you put in for the people that you work with, because it's it really has, and we all put our faith in you for helping us out as and when needed, and you never let us down. So I can't fault you at all for that, mate. And yeah, it is really invaluable, the stuff that you can learn there. And I only wish, back when I first started, that there was a lot of mistakes that I made that I would have, could have nipped in the bud by approaching someone like you sooner. But I did get in touch with you pretty early on anyway, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of input in that group now that can pretty much solve any problems before they happen.
Brilliant. And I appreciate the feedback as well, Matt, and just kind of acknowledging kind of the work we're doing in the business, because that was one of the things. And I think when we first spoke, we said that the goal's not to make £1 million tomorrow. It's to build these strong foundations, these strong relationships. And I've really tried to stick to my word in that regard as much as possible. And this is why I like to talk about this, because it's easy to just say that kind of we're a marketing agency or whatnot, but then that kind of disregards all of the other kind of aspects to it, the kind of mentoring, coaching, the environment, the support network. Because at the end of the day, being an entrepreneur, a business owner, it can be a really lonely journey, especially at the start. Like you said earlier, you haven't got all the resources available. You've got to be resourceful. You've got to wear 100 different hats. So being in that journey at the beginning can be hard. And just knowing that this WhatsApp group has helped you guys in that area, that's a massive win for me. So I appreciate you. Matt.
Yeah, no problem at all. But yeah, totally agree with you. It's much more than just a marketing agency. It's just advice at your fingertips that anyone at any level of business could benefit from.
Brilliant, excellent. So Matt, just to wrap up here, because again, I appreciate your time's valuable. I just want to just go through your kind of initial journey one more time, because I think you saw us first of all on a Facebook ad.
That was it, yeah.
And again, just to put on this point, I think 90% of our clients I've never actually met face to face. So a lot of these other agencies out there now who are promising the world and things like that, they don't even use paid advertising for themselves. So in that background where I've had to grow the business through paid advertising, it really, I know the importance of numbers, ROI, because that's how I've grown this business. So you came across us on a Facebook ad. I think you might have watched a video, applied to book a call with me. We had a really good conversation. We might have had a couple of conversations.
I think we did. Yeah. Before I signed up, I think we had 2 or 3 conversations, and we because once again, like I said, a little bit skeptical, not about you at all. In fact, you were the reason I actually made the investment, like I said, because of where you were at in your business and where you wanted to go. I always knew to get to that next level, I needed someone like yourself involved with my business. It was just about who was the right person, and it was no question of a doubt after I spoke to you, mate, that I just knew that your mission for your business was like talking to myself. It really was. So it was a no-brainer for me.
Brilliant. And at that time, because I think one of the important things is us having a good understanding of your business and your goals and your ambitions before just claiming that we can help. Because at the end of the day, we can't help everyone, and we don't want to help everyone. We partner with like one company in each area. So if we're making that decision to partner with that person, they need to be in line with what we stand for. And when that happens, when that synergy happens, this kind of relationship happens where, like you said, you were skeptical. You did kind of take that leap of faith and decided to partner with us. And then 2.5 years later, we're sitting here now doing an interview, talking about this experience. And I have no doubt in my mind, Matt, that in 10 years' time, we'll be speaking and we'll be talking about the struggles and hardship that we went through at the beginning. Because it's not just a business relationship now. It's a partnership, a friendship. So from that journey, when you made the decision to partner with us, if you had some advice for someone in your position, so they've just watched the video, they're contemplating kind of booking a call, or they might have had a call and they're deciding whether it's going to be actually worth the investment. Knowing what you know now, what would your advice to that person be, Matt?
My advice would be, first of all, that you're not going to grow your business without investing in your business. That's just a fact. No business in the world has grown without serious investment. And you've got to understand what these businesses, these others that you dream of being like, are doing. And you know, if you've been on the tools for 2, 5, 10 years, still on the tools, and you want to get off them, you might even want to stay on the tools. There's nothing wrong with that. But the point is if you've been doing the same thing for a long time and not much has changed, you have to change something you're doing. You have to do something differently. I did it and it's worked for me. It started when I got in touch with you. That's where everything started to change for me. It requires a lot of hard work from yourself. So although you provide many tools and an arsenal of things that business owners can use, they've still got to be really hardworking and put the graft in themselves, because you're not here to hold people's hand and grow their business for them. You're here to provide the tools to grow their business. They've got to do it themselves. They've got to be willing to take the risks they need to take and to invest where they need to invest. But yeah, it's you've really got to be able to put that work in, and you know, don't be afraid. Go with the things that you're afraid of. You know, if something scares you a little bit, as long as it's a calculated risk,
yes,
you know, you've got to go for it and learn along the way. You're not going to know all the answers straight away. However, you know, in yourself, it's going to allow them to limit any mistakes they make, or even eradicate them in some cases, because you're dealing with a bunch of people who have probably been through something that they're about to go through, thinking of going through, whatever the situation might be. And we can give first-hand experience, you know, at their fingertips, really, like I said.
Brilliant. So Matt Hancock now off the tools completely. How many vans you got on the road now, mate?
About 7. So we're looking to double that this year now. And do you know what? We would have done that last year if it weren't for I say COVID, but it wasn't really. It was more the situation, like I said, with trying to recruit. It's a difficult situation. Nothing else about COVID stopped us. Not the restrictions, not the amount of work we had. It was just difficult to get people who were serious about coming on board with us, because you know a lot of people didn't want to work because they didn't have to for the first time ever. So
the government kind of took away that incentive of working, didn't they? Like, why work if you can just sit at home and get paid the same?
Well, you know, let's not, you know, beat around the bush. Like, most people are working because they have to, and you know that's another reason. That's another reason for people to jump on this journey and progress their business, because a lot of people are unhappy in where they're at. I'm a lot happier now where I am than where I was, you know, and the start of that journey was getting in touch with yourself. So yeah, it is one of those things, but I've got no doubt that we would be double the size we are now, which is what we're going for this year, last year, if it wasn't for the pandemic. I'm happy with where we're at because, you know, a lot of businesses didn't make it through the pandemic.
Yeah.
So, you know, I got no complaints at all. But I'm just saying the level that we grew the first year, we could have grown the second year. It was only because of that we didn't. I've got plans to be like I said, as big as I can possibly get. Although I will always put my business first. You know, even though I'm looking to grow my business exponentially, I will always put the reputation of my business first. I will never sacrifice my business for, you know, the desire of pure just more money or revenue or whatever it is. I would never. You have to put your business first. So you've got to grow at the right pace. Make sure you're taking on the right people. Because it's easy. There's 50 plumbers I could employ tomorrow, but I wouldn't trust them not cutting my grass, let alone, do you know what I mean? Representing my business.
Yeah.
So that's probably the best advice I can give.
No, brilliant, Matt, and it shows through the reputation as well. Because, like you said, there's no point in just satisfying your ambitions if it means kind of jeopardizing your reputation. Because especially in today's world with online reviews and people being like so skeptical because there's so many people out there promising the world. I think that's another place where me and you massively align, where the number one thing at all times is always going to be your reputation, the quality over quantity. Because ultimately in the next 5, 10, if you're a long-term thinker, which I think any successful business person needs to be, then having that mindset that we've just spoke about, it's going to ultimately get you there. So I'm excited to work with you, Matt. It's honestly been genuinely, it's been great getting to know you and working with you and seeing your growth and what you've been able to achieve. It hasn't all been roses and rainbows, like you said, but at the same time, now, because even though you've went through those struggles, you're in a really strong, positive position now. You've exceeded some of the goals that we spoke about when we first had a conversation, which is crazy.
Oh, massively, yeah.
So it's going to be exciting that you're on our diamond package now and working.
Yeah.
So,
I'm excited.
Last question, Matt, and I asked this on all of them, but would you recommend We Build Trades to work with?
100%. Like I said, it's an invaluable service that you provide. Your work ethic is second to none. You are on the ball. I don't think I've ever messaged you and waited any period of time before you get back to me and help me out with whatever my query is. Easily contactable. You put all of your clients first, and your knowledge that you have of just business in general, especially in the trade, you're always improving yourself, which then improves, you know, the business that you have there. And I think that it definitely is invaluable. And the only thing that they would regret is that they didn't get in touch with you sooner, I think, because people could really take their business places that they didn't think they could take it through yourself and the contacts that you provide.
Excellent. Well, Matt, again, massively appreciate you taking the time to do that.
No problem.
Good to know that, like, as I said, our business has had an impact, a positive impact on you, and long may that continue, mate. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, good speaking to you anyway, Dan. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks again.
No worries.
Mate, I'm going to pause this now, but mate, that was good, weren't it? I enjoyed that.
Yeah. It's good, mate. Good. I haven't done one of them before, so it's good.
Mate, you've done really well. Like, it was, like I said, we could literally have took any conversation that we've had over the past 2.5 years, recorded it, and it would have been perfect for what we've just done. So wanted it to be just a natural conversation between us.
Yeah, definitely, mate. It's better that way.